Hello, everybody. I'd love to introduce you to our very first speaker, Sylvie Veilleux. She is a strategic global technology leader, a CIO, and board director. Today, she's going to talk to us about a CIO's view on paying it forward. Sylvie is a strategic global technology leader, board director, and former CIO with over 30 years of experience in delivering transformative, data-driven solutions to move organizations and technology forward during periods of hypergrowth, scale, and maturation. Sylvie's experience covers a wide range of industries and is known for her skill in the art of influence and bridging the chasm of old and new thinking to ultimately accelerate change. Sylvie has been recognized by Forbes CIO Next 2021 and Top 50 and Technology Magazine Top 100 Women in Tech. Welcome to the stage, Sylvie. Awesome. All right, here is Sylvie. Hello. Welcome to the DATAcated conference.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for the nice introduction. It was really cool. I love that. It's nice to be here, and I'm excited to listen in into everything else that everybody has to say today. And I'm honored to kick this off. But just a little bit more about me. With the 36 years in tech, I spent the last 21 years in Silicon Valley, and as Kate mentioned, helping organizations grow, scale, and transform. Over these years, I've seen many hypes come and go, as you can imagine. But what has been a constant is driving and managing change and risk and complexity. And, with that, I think, at the center of complexity is data and app integration. So I will jump into this talk, and I would like to talk a little bit more about how to get out of this problem of complexity. And now if I want to move the slide forward, I'm new to this app, so it seems very simple, and here we go. You may notice or recognize this graph, and it's really depicting, as your complexity grows, the benefits that are reaped by these complex architectures or complex approaches actually decline. And I think the current app and data integration technology and systems today that are built, they are built on incomplete foundations, and that does not facilitate IT paying IT forward, full stop. And if you think about it, every project you have adds more complexity. It has more integrations, and it creates more data silos. This is ultimately affecting your agility and the time to value for the business. And also, if you think about this a little further, almost every app, either a custom-built app or a SaaS, has its siloed database. And you have to figure out for every siloed database, and every time you do an integration, how you're going to store your data, how you're going to share it, how you're going to protect it, how you're going to track changes and versions, etc. I mean, the list goes on. And with today's fast and easy access to SaaS, and believe me, I'm a proponent of SaaS and managing SaaS at scale, but it has been the source of seeing, 1,000+ apps or SaaS solutions or a hybrid approach of SaaS and legacy into an organization. So you can just imagine the sheer number of data integrations that are created and the challenges it brings for the next app, or to the point of any digital transformation efforts that you may have to undertake. And, it's just not sustainable. I think this agility, from agility perspective, is not sustainable. And also from an operational and risk perspective. And I'd say, plus the fact it's also extremely costly. There's some research that actually estimates that companies spend around $700 billion every year in integrations alone. And my question back to you is, what if simplicity could save you 70% of these costs? And what if simplicity could cut your time to value by 50% or more on that project or that next project or all your projects? I think that would be amazing. I think nobody would want to leave that idea behind. So I think IT organizations and projects really need to find a way that the current and future projects actually diminish the complexity, not just focus on the functionality and features you're delivering out there, but it has to have some way of paying back down that debt of complexity. And I think the key in this is taking a route towards simplification. Now, simplification, let's talk a little bit about how you do that. So, the path to simplification starts with, if you think about it, any company, with startups to established companies, from legacy systems to cloud-centric apps. IT needs to rethink their whole approach to data and app integration. And it starts with leveraging a platform that will be that foundation for ongoing reuse of your investments and leave those data silos behind, right? You kind of think, you have invested all this money and functionality in the past, but it's not wasted. You can actually now start to move forward in this reuse model, and that's creating that foundation. And the moment to start this and removing that complexity from your business and technology, it's really now. And it's really now with this new data-centric approach, not the current app-centric approach. And I'll dive into that a little bit more and create a little bit more clarity on what I mean with that. And I think that starting this transformation journey is on your very next project. I don't think you need to wait or should wait for that magical transformation initiative. It just starts now. Okay, so let's jump into the next level of detail here. So the passive simplification, I looked at this in these 6 steps and approaches, and I'll start with the first one. And I should say, before I jump into the first one, as you grow into each of these steps in this simplicity model, you'll achieve that next level of simplicity, and it's compounded as you go, and it's compounded with every project. But if you think about it, the first step is creating that data as a network. It's that first and very first and most important step to data centricity. It's the beginning to the end of data integration. Full stop. You no longer need to be building and maintaining all these point-to-point integrations, and that is a huge advantage. Next, there's the ability to do what we call, or I call, zero copy integration. And you actually put an end to your data proliferation and the overhead that comes with it. Think about it. Your data quality, your freshness, your security, your privacy, your data is no longer copied. You no longer have to manage that in all the places it's been copied to or worry where it's going next. And it's a shared and granted access to your data, and you always know you have the latest and the greatest. Next comes autonomous data. And what autonomous data is, it's about freeing or decoupling your data from the app. Think about that. Like, you're decoupling your data from the app. You actually can centrally manage the data with its embedded controls, its embedded metadata, and security. It's all within the data. It's all within the platform, and it's not within the app. So you really greatly simplified your governance responsibilities. And this opens up the possibility for data collaboration between apps and people, between people, and even between companies. Your data is no longer kept in these very rigid data architectures and these app silos. It's freed. Data collaboration actually is the next step, and that enables collaboration intelligence or collaborative intelligence. And in essence, that eliminates data fragmentation. And it's just by simplifying the connection to your dataware platform. Your data is all in one place, and you have immediate 360 anything, if you like. You no longer have that fragmented data silo approach. And then the next step to that, after you've achieved that data collaboration and intelligence, which is, an amazing opportunity for any business, you can actually benefit now from the schema plasticity. And schema plasticity enables federated development, where in fact the schema changes, and every time it changes, it doesn't break your applications. So if you're not breaking your applications and you're eliminating the very complex and time-consuming process of regression testing, and that could be done over a regression testing of hundreds of apps if you have this very large environment, imagine the time you're saving and how it's to this simplicity of the schema plasticity creates that shift for your development resources to be focused on business value add and not the housekeeping. I think it's just phenomenal. I think the next step to that, and I think this is the icing on the cake, is having metadata-driven experiences. And this is where development efforts can actually be done in the fraction of time, because the functionality with the schema evolution is metadata driven. And in essence, it enables business users to access data and use dynamic experiences without having IT build it for you. You could have IT build it for you, but the users now have this capability at their fingertips. And I know there's a lot here to capture in this lightning talk, but you take a step back and look at all these things combined, you now have data as your app. Everything lives within your data. It's no longer siloed in your applications, and your applications actually become very obsolete. Now, if I step to the next slide, and I think, from here going forward, IT organizations that are moving away from an app-centric approach to a data-centric approach by flipping the model are actually going to start getting to that simplicity approach and that data centricity approach. And if you identify and begin your next project with a foundation for reuse, the journey started and you're on your way to achieving those 6 major steps of simplicity. And I said, don't wait. Again, don't wait for that transformation project to start. Start now with your next project and begin the end of the data integration and your data silos. And that is my lightning talk for today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sylvie. This is amazing. We have so many comments and questions that came in. We do have some time to take those. First of all, thank you again for that great presentation. My biggest takeaway is don't wait, start now, because the longer you wait, the more difficult it will be in the future, because more data, more systems, more apps definitely makes sense. The first question I'll take here is from Joe, and he's asking, what will the data wranglers of the world do when we leave the data silos behind?
Well, the data wranglers can focus on business functionality and value, right? Versus the housekeeping. Honestly, there's a lot to do there in terms of building insights and new capabilities for the business. You're just eliminating what the steps are that are a little bit more, I would say, going back to the governance and the security, it's more centralized. So you still have people managing that. You just waste less time on it. I think we lost Kate. Kate, are you there? There we go. I think you're back, Kate.
I think my internet might have gotten lost over here in the far depths of New Jersey. Something must be happening here this morning. And this is also to prove to everybody that we are very much live here. So any issues that we encounter, it's due to live streaming. But thank you for that, Sylvie. I actually told Joe that we can go all to the beach and hang out when we have nothing else to do. So.
Well, I don't know if everybody understood or heard my response to that, but I think there's tons of other work to do that is not on the housekeeping, and you can reduce the number of hours spent on that.
Right. Yes, absolutely. And focus on the other things that matter more, right? The more value added tasks.
Correct.
George is asking, in the beginning, you were talking about that peak of IT complexity. So how long does it typically take to reach that peak?
I think that is very unique to each and every organization, right? Complexity is defined in different ways. I think it comes to a point when you're actually noticing that the time to actually build out or deliver something new to your business or to your team, the portion of time you're spending on figuring how to get there versus actually doing it, that's when your complexity starts to take a toll. And if you're noticing that it's increasing over time, I think that's a telling point.
Okay, got it. Thank you. And then we'll take one more question here from a LinkedIn user who decides to hide their name for privacy. Besides time and money, how do you quantify the other benefits, which are often much more important?
Absolutely. I mean, the time and money piece are outcomes of having simplicity in place. But if you think about, you have your data always ready, always available. There's no more silos, there's no more fragmentation. So you
Mhm.
have access to a lot more insights at your fingertip. And not only that, your business users actually can leverage this data and insight immediately. It doesn't have to be, dependent on an application or a project to bring it all together. So you're
Right.
actually enabling your business users to self-serve themselves in a platform that is protecting your data and at the same time giving them access to information they never had before.
Right. Absolutely. Well, Sylvie, I want to thank you very much for taking the time today. I know it was very early in the morning for you. I really appreciate you making the time for this. And everybody else, stay tuned. We've got another dozen or so speakers lined up ahead of us. Sylvie, feel free to stick around and watch the rest of the speakers. I will see you online.